holiday season, you might be looking for nutritious, convenient meals to keep you energized on jam-packed days. Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal delivery service, can help you fuel up for brekkie, lunch, or dinner with chef-prepared, dietitian-approved, ready-to-eat meals delivered straight to your door. They just drop them at your door, people. You'll save time and eat well. You'll stay on track with your healthy lifestyle while taking all of your holiday to-dos in stride with good meals in the tum-tum. If you're too busy with all this stuff, these meals are easy to get done. They taste great. All you've got to do is head over to factormeals.com/expandingreality50 and use code expandingreality50 to get 50% off. That's code expandingreality50 at factormeals.com/expandingreality50 to get 50% off.
I know fitness is important, but I don't have time to keep up with all the fads and celebrity workouts that come and go. I need something backed by real science that will get real results and fits into my schedule. Caliber has been a lifesaver. It's a science-based fitness coaching program covering strength, nutrition, and healthy habits, completely customized to my needs and abilities. All I did was fill out their online assessment, and Caliber did the rest. The best part is, I'm not in it alone. Caliber paired me with an expert personal trainer who checks on my progress and keeps me motivated and on track. And I'm not the only one getting results. Caliber is top-rated on Trustpilot with 4.9 out of 5 stars. On average, members achieve a 20% or better improvement in their body composition by week 12 of the program. Start a science-based fitness program you'll actually stick with. Get $100 off at caliberstrong.com/podcast. That's caliberstrong.com/podcast.
A choice right now between fear and love. It's just a rock.
Out of the dark night of ignorance and into the shining light of truth.
Expanding reality. A population of citizens capable of critical thinking.
We don't see things as they are, we see them as we are.
There's a level of reality where everything dissolves into an ocean of energy.
We empower our experience by insisting on our authenticity.
That's very profound. Very.
Expanding reality.
Welcome to Expanding Reality. I am your host, Brandon Thomas. On this one, we have a very special episode. Natasha Koshinka comes by to hang out with us. Guys, on this one, we go really, really deep. We talk about her Rising Feminine Energy course. We talk about Flat Earth, the organic simulation, autism. We really cover the gamut on this. New Earth, quantum messaging, like star seeds, neurodiversity, DMT. We do all of this. It's an awesome conversation. Natasha is a wonderful talk to. So go check out all the ways to find her linked down in the show notes. Her podcast, Greetings Earth Family, as well as her YouTube, Quantum Musings, will be linked down there. So make sure that you check her out. Also linked in the show notes, if you'd like to expand your experience with us here on the show, you can do so at expandingrealitypodcast.com. So without any further ado, let's get to this damn thing with Natasha Koshinka.
Meow, meow. Okay.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcoming to the show. It is Natasha Koshinka. Did I do it right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. You're incredible. We met actually on the Deep Share, The Witness, the panel 4 that he did. Those really great panel shows that Andy did. And I'm just so impressed with that dude, how he gathers a bunch of different people. And we all just met this way. And that's how you and I connected, which is fantastic. So also, along with all of the ways to find you, your link tree and all of that, linked in the show notes, I'm going to go ahead and throw that episode down there too. So you guys can go show some love on that. That was an awesome panel about psychedelics. It was just really cool. And that's why you just stuck out. And I'm grateful that we've connected. So before we get it launched into here, tell us a little bit about you.
About me. So I am very, very sensitive, and therefore I'm able to usually feel the vibes of the collective, of, our world, our planet, the stars and the moon and the sun, whatever, right? So I'm able to kind of feel out what's going on in the collective and feel people in general. If somebody comes to me, I could feel out what's going on with them, and I guess guide them would be a good word to, like where they should or they would feel better. I'm into shamanism. I'm into doing sacred ceremonies, again, to make people feel better. I do QHHT, which again is to make them feel better, because I am very familiar with what it feels like to feel like shit. And I want to, again, everything happens for a reason, right? So I want to just feel like it is my purpose to get people out of their horrible states and lift them up to be like human beings, lift that trauma, move it aside, process it, move it aside, or integrate it, whatever needs to get done. Also, I am available to help parents that have autistic children to kind of be a bridge between the two, because again, I feel and I understand and I know what the individual on the spectrum is going through. And I'm kind of there to connect and relieve the stress from both sides. What else? I do so many things. I feel like I'm always missing something.
Well, your podcast, your YouTube, which I'm going to be linking in the show notes. Yeah.
Yes, I do have a podcast and YouTube. What else? Oh, I have a Schumann resonance channel on Telegram as well as Instagram. It's like a, I guess, smaller version of the channel, and a chat for that channel. I also have a chat for ascending ones. It's called on Telegram. What else do I do? I feel like definitely missing stuff. Just like energy work. I call it quantum energy work. So I feel like I covered everything, but I'm sure I'm missing things.
Well, you do so much. And I mean, again, your link tree is like 15 links long, and all of them are fascinating and fantastic. So I do want to get into autism with you here in just a little bit, but also I'd like to jump into the Schumann resonance thing, because I don't think that's something that we talk about enough. So if you don't mind, just break that down for us and tell us what you think about it.
So what I think about it is the Schumann resonance is basically some people call it the heartbeat of the planet, of Mother Earth, and it's basically where her vibration, where she's at, and that's influenced by the sun and by the central sun. And supposedly, right, because I have no way to prove it, we are in the photon belt, and when you enter into the photon belt, there are certain kinds of energies that affect the central sun and the sun, which affect the Earth. And so with that, plus supposedly, again, because I have no way other than I feel it, I know it. I say know it because I have claircognizance, so I'll just know stuff. Am I right or no wrong? I don't really know, but what I feel, and I just report what I feel. So supposedly, I'm going to call them interdimensionals, kind of also send us certain frequencies, that also influence the collective, influenced the planet, influenced the Schumann resonance. And it's just a good way for me anyway to track what's going on. The Schumann resonance is not the only place that you could like see, the influence for the collective. Like there's other things going on. But anyway, so with the Schumann resonance, I follow what's going on, amplitude, the hertz. It's basically like when it skyrockets, you'll see different but similar effects on humans. Like people get energized, for example, or some people get overly stimulated and therefore crash and feel like crap. So like you'll have people that have a lot of energy, and you have people that just like need to kind of melt into the couch. What else can I say? Obviously affects everything: your emotional state, your physical state, your mental state, a lot of stuff as all this light, right, blasts into our bodies. A lot of stuff comes up, your wounds, your traumas, and kind of like people will have bad dreams, right, or weird dreams. And what I feel is that it's basically stuff coming up to get healed. So it's like, wow, they're like, oh my God, this is horrible. I'm like, no, but this is good. It's no longer weighing you down. And the way I see it is that as you're clearing stuff, as stuff comes up, as you're clearing all this stuff, all this density out of your body, it makes room for more light to come in. And to me, light is information. So your like your ability to hold light is your ability to have expanded awareness, where your reality could be expanded.
I was like, yes, I knew you were going to do it. Thank you. The vibes, though, I mean, it's what it's all about. And what's interesting about the Schumann resonance in particular is it's something it's ubiquitous. It affects all of us, but not everyone can interpret it properly or are at the level to receive it in the way that it's always beneficial, right? Because it always either highlights something that you need to change or adjust or to do with your frequency. But then, when you look at like things like this great shift or this great whatever the hell's going on right now, that's what it feels like, right? It's an energetic raising. So it's a vibrational shift. And I had a guy named Ben Carroll. He's an incredible musician. I'm going to send you his link. He's wonderful. And he talked about cymatic patterns. So are you familiar with cymatics?
Yes.
Where they take the metal plate with a speaker under it and pour sand or some sort of granule on it. And then they do a single tone frequency, and then it alters and creates this interesting pattern on top. And what's really cool is as you change those, as you shift notes, you're shifting frequencies and vibration. And then it changes the pattern physically of salt or whatever's represented, visually for you that represents that energy on the plate. And so what's really interesting is what it feels like right now with this shift, and what Ben was talking about specifically on that just blew my mind was as the pattern changes, which is referred to as vibration in this instance, it changes the pattern. Well, all those granules don't move all at once. They move all at once, but they don't assimilate all at once. There's sort of a chaotic thing that occurs there before they reform into a new, more beautiful pattern. And it feels like what we're in right now is that chaotic reforming, right? Mm-hmm. Before the next earth or this next energy vibration is kind of locked in for a little while so that we can kind of vibe on that. Do you feel that that's true, that that's what's going on with everything right now?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I find it really interesting, when they zoom in, when they do those videos of the, like the vibrations and everything, and then they'll zoom in, and then when you zoom in, those grains or whatever you want to call them. Oh, my cat is causing havoc over here.
That's okay.
Move your tail, boobies.
This is an animal-friendly show. You're fine.
Sarah Bears. Yeah. So so when you zoom in, it looks like little universes.
Vortexes. Yeah.
Vortex or whatever. Like it's so interesting. It's like all these worlds within the sound vibration. I think it's just fascinating. As above, so below. That's that whole situation. It's amazing.
Yeah, could not agree more. And this is one of the things, right? It's a good visual representation for what may be happening here on an invisible level, right? But you can see it. You could see it displayed in migrational patterns in animals. You could see it in human beings' behaviors. You could see it in all sorts of things. The sun's a different goddamn color. The moon's doing some weird shit. It's just really interesting. And you can definitely see this. And especially, also, I had a young lady named Mama Shell on. I got to introduce you to her, too. We were talking about the differences in reality and how there's two different realities here. So whenever you talk about the split energetically, it's actually a physical, geographical location here, and there's just people experiencing the world differently. Some people are getting their asses kicked because they're vibrating at that frequency, and they attract that, and just having a really, really rough time with it. Other people just walk through, I think the example she used was just walk through a riot and not get touched at all. Like you just walk through the fire and you're totally fine. It's a vibrational thing. It doesn't resonate with you. So therefore you're not affected by it. It's really cool. So how has this energetic shift affected you personally? Have you noticed any major changes in your reality?
Well, I've been going through my healing for over a decade, I feel. And I've done a lot of work. Yet there was just so much more that needed to get done. So honestly, since this lockdown thing happened, it's been pretty good for me because I've gotten to kind of spend that time to heal, on all levels, physically, mentally, emotionally, even further there, even deeper. There's a lot of detox, a lot of physical detox, which, is kind of stinky. Let's be honest. So I had a lot of that. I feel like I've gone through enough dark nights of the soul where I during this whole time, just not really much of that because again, I've gone through so much.
Checked it off the list.
Yeah, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
What else? Yeah, I kind of really got to really get on my feet, like kind of get my shit together during this whole time, and I guess be a guide for people just like what the fuck is going on.
Yeah, you're like a lighthouse out there for those folks that need the understanding. It's interesting too with people like you. What I picture is like most of the people, let's say a vast majority of them, are either NPCs or non-player characters, which I'd definitely like to get into with you. But
I would like to also talk about. I'm so confused. Like I get it, but I'm just like, what's going on? Like,
we'll get into that. We'll definitely talk through it. It's awesome. But the visual representation I've just come across lately is that a lot of folks are down there in like little holes. Like, let's say we're walking across a field, and there's a bunch of people that have dug these holes for themselves, and then they're staring at the inside of this earth, and they can't see. They could see sky above them, but they don't know how to get out of that hole. What people like you do is you walk amongst this field of folks looking with their hand up. Some people are just staring at the hole. Some people are digging down deeper and don't want to come out into the sunshine. You know, that allegory of the cave
It's
thing.
Comfortable.
It is comfortable.
They know
it's cozy. It's a little foxhole. You're safe in there, you know?
Yeah, you're familiar.
But there are people that have their hands out through the hole saying, how the hell do I get out of this? And you walk around and you grab those hands and you pull them out of that hole and show them the world out here. You invite them into the sunshine. And that's the metaphor I use for people like you, starseeds, light workers. The ones out here that are pulling the people that want to be helped out of the hole that they dug themselves, want to be helped out of that. That's what you're here to do. You don't go yelling down holes where people are still digging going, hey, get out of there. You know, what are you doing? Because they obviously are enjoying their time and they're on their own path, and that's fine. And so this is what's cool, though. There seems to be a lot of gophers coming out of holes lately. And I mean, the numbers have just been insane with the people who have woken up, you know, and I mean, for lack of a better word, right? But it's interesting, too, and I heard a panel discussion with Amy Blair on her Third Eye Awakening podcast, and they were talking about how her awakening was at 18, which mine was too. So I'm on this for, you know, well over 20 years, and she was saying the same thing. But what it seems like now, and you too, you're a veteran of this shit, it seems like now, though, a bunch of people are waking up fast. Like they're going through what it took us 20 years to achieve. I can't even imagine. Yes, it took us 20 years to get here. They're doing it in a year or 6 months. It's wild.
It's wild.
Yeah, I'm happy about it. Like, it's great.
I'm happy too. I mean, like, we need all this help, and each person rising or waking up or whatever, it's, you know, like a light, and, you know, flashing on. It's like, thank you.
And that's tying it back to the Schumann resonance, what it feels like, right? It's like if it is an earth frequency, all those people, to go back to the metaphor about people in holes, are kind of being vibrated out of their frequency. It's like, oh, I got to get out of here, you know, kind of thing. And that's what's bringing all of this to light or rising to the next level. So it's interesting. It's crazy cool. So tell me, because you are a fucking warrior goddess, by the way. So tell me about your Rising Feminine course that you do, which will be, of course, linked down there below.
So it's a course for women, and I'm actually thinking of designing one for men as well, unless other men want to get, you know, like stand up and do it. Then, I mean, you know, less work for me, because I have just so many ideas for so many other things. But for the Rising Feminine, it's basically building a foundation to kind of feel grounded enough to get your life on track. So like it's grounding, clearing out. What else do I have on there? It's just like a bunch of stuff to kind of like reach a point of clarity so you could create your life. Yeah. You know, kind of untangle stuff and tie loose ends. Just kind of like build your strength and to be able to get going.
Got you. Well, I'm looking forward to the mail one. And if you want some collab help on that, I'd love to be a part of that.
I'd love that, actually.
In any way that you want. If you just want a dude's approach, I'll, you know, be like, this is how we think. So maybe, you know, do that.
That would be beautiful. I love that.
But the men in healing is something I've actually had on my list to talk to you about today. So
yes.
What is interesting about this, and I find this with... let's just be, I guess, completely honest here and just say it, right? And just go for it here. So let's say that women, when they're attracted to other women, it's considered amazing and awesome. When men are, it's different for masculine folks, right? Okay, as a whole in general, generalizing, of course. Now, the same is true for like a wake up or a spiritual awakening or getting into spiritual woo-woo stuff like that, right? It is way more cool and acceptable for women to choose that path than it is for men. Men, you're looked at as weak. There's all these demasculating things that come along with the idea of that from the perspective of the Matrix, okay? And from the perspective of these dudes out here that have felt that that's the way that they have to interact with their fellow man. Now, what's even more interesting than that is whenever you look into the real depth of men, usually they listen to podcasts like this. They interact with folks like this. They just do it in secret. They don't do it overtly because they don't feel like they have the space to do that. So what do you think guys can do, or maybe just some advice from a woman's perspective that can help us get out of that funk?
Well, number one would be care about what you think. It doesn't matter what other people think. It's your life. It's your happiness. It's your joy. That's really one and done, technically, right? Plus, on top of that, who's judging you? You know what I mean? That saying that keeps going around that I keep repeating, those that judge don't matter, and those that matter won't judge, kind
That's
of
right.
thing.
Yeah.
Really, that's it,
and it's like you put it's needle in a haystack is what you compared it to on your website about men doing this and taking this on. And I would say more of it's needles in a stack of needles, because a lot of those dudes are down with this. They just don't know how to vocalize that. And they don't know how to, they feel like, well, they're going to lose their friends. And sometimes that happens, guys.
You will lose your friends. Yeah. No, you will lose your friends unless your friends are also going to walk down this path. It's not just men losing friends. It's everybody losing friends. We're vibrating, like you said, out of that dense reality. We're building by being who we are. We're building a new reality. We need you, men. We need you so much.
Yeah, get your ass out of here. It's
so
cool.
much. It's ridiculous. Oh my God. It's interesting. If you go to any spiritual, right, like gatherings or even teachings, any kind of spiritual or self-improvement teaching, if you look at the list of who is part of it, I would say over 90% are women. That's men. It's time to get up and stand up, because technically, if you're a part of those groups, it's not like anybody's actually seeing you being part of those groups technically, right? So the numbers should be higher, because it's kind of like, I don't know. We really need you. You are our support system. You are the container. We need you so much. Like we are women mostly live in the upper three chakras, right? Like for the most part, again, not generally, but like for the most part, men are usually in their lower three chakras. So us women, we need to ground more, and you men need to go up more. So, and which is interesting because, the fire symbol goes this way, and that represents masculinity, right? That's the way for you to go. It's kind of pointing. I just thought that was interesting. And then the water symbolizes women, and we need to go this way. We need to ground. I thought that was just really interesting how that coincided. I was like, huh. So yeah.
When it's visualized as that Merkaba is what you're talking about, right? That light body. And
actually. Well, I was talking about the air and fire symbols. I'm sorry, water and fire symbols, as there's earth and wind. Sorry. Fire, water, earth, and wind. Yeah. But definitely, Merkaba as well. Male and female, same thing.
Yeah, it's interesting, but they form one thing. I think, and it's something that I observed a while back with people who, like you said, it's a lot of women in this. And that, like I said, that's fine. That's awesome. But what's interesting about it is a lot of these women have husbands that don't do any of that stuff, or they're not into it at all, or they just think it's something that they do like on the weekends, or like it's a Harry Potter book club or something. They're just like, yeah, whatever. But I think also it has that stigma because the idea of something spiritual usually entails, your heart centers and being very forgiving and loving, and a lot of dudes, and this is a societal peer pressure is based on this, that actually is very interesting, because whenever you're beaten down to not be compassionate and that you have to be tough, dudes don't necessarily want that all the damn time, man. We got feelings too. I think that a lot of that's very overlooked. And it's not that they are choosing the other, it's that they don't know how to broach their feelings with that. They don't know how to step into it without looking like something society is going to, crush on. And it's an ego thing. I mean, I think a lot of it, but like I said, I mean, there could be 5 dudes sitting on a couch that all laugh about the movie Frozen, but every damn one of them knows the word to every song in that movie, but they just won't admit it to each other. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like that.
Okay, so it comes down to men, be brave.
There you go. Thank you. Yeah. It takes a brave man to admit that crystals are pretty dope.
They're fucking dope.
They're fucking dope. Yeah. Bunch of cool shit going on with that.
And if you're a man that's if you allow yourself to be that kind of man, think about the kind of woman you could attract.
Exactly. Yeah. They're great. They're amazing.
They're not just women.
Yeah. They're female. They're warrior goddesses. That's right.
They're fucking magic. Like the life you could have, like if you step into who you are, if you're brave enough to step into who you are and you attract a woman that is also brave enough to step into that being, the kind of life you guys could fucking have. That's the whole like Merkaba thing, basically. You're creating one by being brave. And there's so many beautiful spiritual women out there, just like there are no spiritual men. There are. But there's, the numbers what I mean.
Yeah, the numbers are dramatically different for sure. Well, I completely agree, and I think it's fascinating. And I mean, think of the sex you have with spiritual people. It's open, it's fun, it's freeing, it's very different. It is not this
very different
missionary shit that you do in the Matrix. It is.
It's not just the missionary. That's the missionary is not even the problem. That's not the issue. It's the issue is the lack of connection.
Yeah, exactly.
You're basically. It's like sex is kind of like this grand tool, right, for magic. and we've been stripped of that. This Matrix basically has taught us, hey, look at this porno. This is how you do it. This is not how you do it. This is abuse. You're watching abuse. Even with the consensual whatever, it's still abuse. This whole let me ram that shit in there. While there's all kinds of fun that could be had, sure. It's just that's not what sex is all about. Ramming is not all that it's about. Again, not there's anything wrong with however you do it. It's just the main point is connection. When you're connecting, when your heart is connected. I mean, it's basically the sex that is had, like our world is having right now, is like literally nothing compared to what you could be having.
Yeah, it's like that 5D sex that Joe Thomas talked about. She talked about in the 5D of crazy cool sex, like even your eyeballs like orgasm and stuff, which is pretty dope.
Send me that.
Yeah, right? I know, yeah. That. I will take that.
Please.
But yeah, and it's interesting too, because when you are connected with somebody like that, then you can really let your freak flag fly. So if your thing is the ramming and all that good stuff.
That's what I'm saying.
You
can
really
do whatever the fuck you want. It's just, that's the heart connection.
And it's a beautiful, safe place for you both to just go nuts and just to really explore your avatars, right?
Right.
Very
yes.
cool. Well, I definitely want to get onto New Earth stuff with you a little bit, but I would like to bring up autism with you because this is something that I found absolutely fascinating. So tell us, if you don't mind, just a little bit about why you wanted to focus on autism in the first place.
Okay, so my understanding of what autism is. So autistic individuals are very, very, very sensitive, and their nervous system is just very, very different and very picks everything up, right? So this is why you'll see them like because things are too loud, things are too bright. But then not just with the 5 senses, it goes beyond that, where there's like, let's say, extra sensory, like somebody's actually speaking to you that's not actually there, all kinds of things. So basically these individuals are here, they're not able to deal with the structure that is in place, the matrix. They're just like, no, I can't, right? And the more people like that come in, the more the structure can't hold what's been currently going on. In my opinion, and I came up with this idea many years ago, but I've fairly recently finally saw other people express this, that autistic individuals are not souls from this planet, which another term would be, starseed. You call it a corny word or not, it's just a word, whatever, right? But they're basically, higher vibrational beings, highly sensitive, higher vibrational beings here incarnating into a physical body to kind of bust this nonsense structure we have going on. They are not, there's a variety of different expressions of autism, because every individual is an individual. Some people you could see that they're autistic, and some people you can't see that they're autistic. They have a very, very strong, not everybody, not across the board, but for the most part, very strong connection to the cosmos, source, whatever, words you want to use, but basically very strong connection. As far as I go, if I ingest dairy, you could see more, because I am on a spectrum. You could see more that there's something different, or you could experience more so, because I'm not able to deal with the world as strongly as I usually can, because like everything is that much more intense. My nervous system is that much more sensitive, and everything starts to hurt, and my heart center kind of starts to contract. So it's just like I'm usually in a very better place. I'm currently experiencing these dairy symptoms, even though I'm able to look fine. But that's just because I've mastered over the years how to look fine no matter what. I could be in a crazy pain, and this is what you'll see.
Well, you look wonderful, and you're fine. Like, you're doing great. You did tell me you were on a bit of a dairy hangover before we started here, and that's fine. Like, you're doing great. So something I wanted to point out is I looked up the definition of autism before we got rolling here, because I was very curious about that. And so it's just defined as a developmental disorder, which we're already straight out the gate wrong.
They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Let me just tell you this. This is just humans coming up with nonsense.
I'm with you.
I mean, to the point where they were like, only boys could be on the spectrum. Like, that makes no fucking sense. You guys are just stupid.
Like prostate.
Sorry. I'm just upset with the whole thing. Anyway,
I'm with you. I love it, and that's the reason I brought this up, actually, so you and I can destroy this thing right now. So it's considered, again, a developmental disorder of variable severity that is characterized by difficulty in social interaction and communication and by restricted or repetitive patterns of thought or behavior. So, like we said, straight out the gate, developmental disorder. Completely disagree, and you've already pointed out why that's important. And I do think that, and this is why I brought it up to you, that there variety of severity characterized by socially awkwardness or inability to socialize. I think that's wonderful. We on the show, and there's this wonderful quote that was, being well adjusted to a sick society is no measure of good health. Yeah.
Exactly. That's actually part of why I was so socially awkward when growing up. I wouldn't have to be if people acted like people, if people had humanity. Meanwhile, because there's just trauma through generations, getting passed on, everybody's all messed up, including the children, to where, because they're abused by their traumatized parents, to where being mean is the way to go. This is how humans function. They're mean to people. So extra sensitive people, and there's also this weird energetic thing where the neurotypicals, which is the normal people, they're able to practically, it's obviously not that they're smelling, but they could practically smell it on you, that you're the sensitive, sweet person that's not going to do anything to them that they could, go after. So it's the whole social awkwardness thing is they are sensing people being mean, because that's what's happening. And, that's kind of fucking them up, and they don't want to be around that. So they kind of close off and go do their own thing, go be weird over there, because being weird, means that they need to get picked on for some reason. It's nothing wrong with, other than being different. There's nothing wrong with the social skills until they are forced to they're there to be a problem because people are cruel. If they're growing up in a, let's say, maybe small tribe or something, they're not going to have social skill issues. They're going to be okay. So it's really society. That's the problem.
It is.
Like you said, it's growing up in this sick world, like the adjusting to, being adjusted to a sick world isn't whatever you said that.
It's not my quote. It's just one I love so much.
Yeah, I love it too.
Yeah, just being well adjusted to a sick society is no measure of good health. It's just one of those things, and could not agree more. And this is what's interesting about it too. I bet a lot of people who are waking up right now may feel that they are on the spectrum, and that may be accurate because it's just your
Most
inability.
Likely.
It's almost like a built-in, like a psychic bullshit meter. You know what I mean?
Yes, exactly. That's what I've got. I'm just like, no, I'm not complying with your nonsense. No, that's where I'm at now. It was hard growing up, but now, like before, it was just, I didn't know how to deal with seeing through people's bullshit. But now I'm just like, get away. No, absolutely not. I see this. No.
Yeah, it's like you can smell it right away. And this is the thing. This is about, though, choosing your time, and it's got to do with vibe, right? You guys are unable to drop your vibe into that world. That's what it seems like. It's just like an inability. Not that you don't want to, or that autistic people or on the spectrum people, however you want to put it, don't want to come down and interact. Let's put it that, because they are lowering their energy to have those interactions. It's not the other way around. It's not that they're behind. It's everybody else. What did you call it? The neurodiversity? Those folks are the ones that are... neurotypicals are the normies. Neurotypicals, yes.
And
normies,
then neurodivergents
right?
are the spectrum folks.
Gotcha. Muggles, right? Okay. And it's just interesting how that seems to be. And the more you awaken, I guess, spiritually, the more you have no tolerance for bullshit. You can't do the water cooler talk anymore. You can't stomach it. It's so hard to do, and you are physically repulsed by those kinds of interactions. And so this is like, again, where it points to another vibrational shift, because it's all energy, right? It's all vibe. So on the cymatic plate that we're all vibrating on, a lot of us have already assembled into our beautiful new pattern, and we're waiting for all those in-betweens to kind of, shuffle over where they're going to be and quit bumping into everybody else. And that's what it feels like. It feels like with this new birth of these star seeds, that autism or anything on the spectrum, air quotes, which used to be, and is still in some ways a negative connotation or a less than.
It's horrible.
It is horrible because it's inaccurate.
I have a theory. So I feel like whoever they are, right? Let's call it the people behind the media, right?
Lizard turds, yeah.
I feel like they know what autistics actually are.
Absolutely, yeah.
So this is why it's been stigmatized so hard. Yeah, it might also look weird, right? But that's just a judgment. Those are just individuals, because even with the normal people, everybody's technically weird until they put a social mask on.
Yeah.
So this whole thing of stigmatizing autism, itself, I think it's done on purpose. Like putting out movies where you see really horrible examples, like, not to say that it's not also reality, because it can definitely also be reality, but it's not always the reality where this like really horrible way, like basically what scares people. That's not all that autism is. And it's something else that's really interesting is they had developed mental hospitals, mental institutions. Who's in the mental institutions? I could guarantee it's a really crazy high number. And even with the bipolar and schizophrenia and all the other stuff, in my opinion, these are just comorbid. I can never say this word properly.
Comorbidities.
Thank you.
No worries. This is your second language, by the way. You're doing wonderful. It's okay.
I've been here since 9.
That's fine.
I don't know.
It's still you get the mulligan on it. That one's hard anyway.
You develop all these other issues, like personality disorders, etc., as a because of your sensitivity and how harsh the world is to you. Yeah, you develop all these issues. So who winds up in the mental institutions? Yeah, put them in a house. Put them in a house where they get abused and isolated and all that stuff. lowering their vibe.
Yeah, it's like an institutionalized witch trials. It's like a place for them to go to be banished from society so that they don't infect society with high vibe actual truth.
Isn't that crazy?
Going on here.
Meanwhile, they're the shamans of the world. You're literally plucking the shamans. Oh, you're weird. Yeah, shamans are weird, motherfucker. Oh, you're weird. Let me pick on you. Let me destroy your psychological makeup. Oh, you're broken. You can't fit into society.
And all of that. I mean, and you nailed it with this. The mental disorders are just misdiagnoses. It's misdiagnoses of spirit entity possession. In the case of schizophrenia, Zane Daniels working
that's how I feel about that.
Awesome documentary about that. Yeah. And so
there's a documentary on.
So my buddy Zane Daniel, who I've actually had on the show, he's wonderful. I'll connect you with him as well. But he's got a documentary that he's making right now about that, about how schizophrenic, because that's his thing. He does negative entity attachment for folks. And
because I have this just my own personal theory on what schizophrenia is, and I think your friend is actually doing a fucking documentary about it. Looks like. Yeah, I feel like when it comes to schizophrenia, all these psychological disorders, they're basically there's some kind of adaptation, or there's some kind of I could tell you what was the reason for every single one of them, pretty much. I could see it, I could understand it. But anyway, schizophrenia itself is, in my opinion, filters kind of dropping down, and you're able to see certain things, and yeah, entity attachments for sure as well, but schizophrenia, I feel like there's some kind of filter that's being moved over, and there being some kind of connection. Those connection could be a dark spirits that can project stuff, and you could see all this. Sometimes not even real stuff. Sometimes it's real, and sometimes it's not real stuff. It's projected by an entity, that attachment that wants you to feel all these negative feelings, such as fear, so it could just feed off you.
And even the institutions themselves are designed to be so low vibe. I mean, you think about the colors and the coldness and the bars and the nastiness and the medications and the treatment and the outfits. I mean, the condition, all of it sucks. It's just an interesting thing to kind of be ostracized or, what do they call it? Exiled from society because you are actually a high vibe light worker that's just misunderstood, or you actually need some serious help, but the help doesn't come in the form of just being pilled out in electroshock therapy, which is hilarious to put therapy on the end of a torture device.
I know.
But, and it's interesting too, whenever, so what I think would be really, really fucking cool is to take these folks and put them in a place that's, I don't know, just incredible, like a retreat center, right? And have folks treated that way with light workers, with sound healing, with medicine ceremonies, plant medicine ceremonies.
They become like normal people.
This is the thing, right?
They become healthy.
When they can become the leaders of the new everything because they finally get an environment to where they're actually helped and treated, because we all know this. I mean, this is not for the benefit of people. It is just to throw them off out of the way, so you don't even have to think that kind of thing exists here, and to keep the narrative going that the Matrix is a good thing and that there's no other way and that this is the thing and everyone's crazy if they're not involved.
Right. The irony.
Oh, the irony. It's beautiful. Another reason why those things presented out there is more, it looks more and more to me like an inversion of reality. It's it's the opposite. So it's interesting. But folks like you are out there shining light on this, which is beautiful. So this is what we need, and I'm grateful for you. So keep kicking ass and do what you're doing. I want to talk to you about a flat Earth. All right. So I'm a massive fan of this. And when you put it as one of the things that we could talk about, I'm like, yes, now we're talking. So let's do that. So what makes you think that the place that this is might not necessarily be a ball hurling through space at like millions of miles an hour?
Well, first I would like to say that I don't know anything, right? When it comes to, because how can I know? Am I expanding myself into a mega body, like a giant body, and like expanding to be able to actually see? And no, I can't. So without actual real proof, there's nothing that, So what I feel, I'll go there next. I feel, and it's maybe probably the fact that this is what I learned all my life. I feel that we live on a globe, right? This is just how I feel. The reason I feel this is because when I close my eyes and I connect my cord down into the earth. I feel the cord going down and connecting to the center of the earth. That, I mean, is that enough? I don't know if that's enough, but like I said, I feel like it's a globe because I can connect to it. I feel Mother Earth, but can I also connect to possibly something else if it's another structure? Probably. I don't know. That's really what I could say. I don't know. So yeah, that's my only thing. I don't know, but I think it's an interesting subject to explore. At first I was really fighting it really hard. I was like, you guys sound ridiculous. Yeah. Like my problem with flat earthers was that the aggressivity that they came with it, like everybody else is stupid. And just like, okay, you guys. Okay. Just the way you're putting it, there was, and I'm not trying to offend anybody, but like, I'm going to say it anyway. It's this whole need of like, we're on a platform and we're special. So I felt like there was just this desire we're special, like just to feel special. So therefore that's why the earth is flat. I don't think that's enough of a reason to say we don't live in a globe. That you're special is not enough of a reason. Another, I think, is not a good enough reason, is that we've been lied to, therefore the earth is flat. I don't think that's how it works either. Just because we have been lied to doesn't mean, therefore, the earth is flat. Can this be a simulation where it's a flat surface? Yeah.
What about a simulation where it's a flat surface for the ones that see it flat, but then if you want to hop on a rocket, which is an option here, and you shoot off into space, a ball forms underneath you or renders underneath you? Do you think that's possible?
Absolutely. Yeah. If it's a simulation, right? Like it could be shape of a star. I don't know, like anything.
Yeah, I mean, even we could be on a giant turtle, right? We don't know.
Who knows?
Right. So what I agree with the flat earthers, and now I agree with you 100% as well. They're very the way that they approach the information is a turnoff, man. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's like, it's not the lighthouse, it's the Paul Revere, it's the shaken. You've been lied to, and you're fucking an idiot if you don't think that.
Exactly, you're an idiot. Oh, okay, now I believe you.
Yeah, the approach sucks, right? I mean, and I get it because it's that same. It's the same thing you do with conspiracy theories when you find those out. Like, just look at Building 7 and you send a bunch of videos to people, and it's like, the delivery again. It's you're going about it all wrong,
right. Right.
Talking to my guy all wrong. But what I do agree with them on is the inconsistencies in NASA's stories and then what's presented to the public. I think there's a ocean of fucking evidence and things on their own damn website that you can just go bullshit.
Absolutely. Again, that's not a good enough reason. You know what I mean? Therefore, the earth is flat. NASA lied. The media lied. School system lied. Education system lied. Therefore, it's just not good enough reason. Again, at the same time, I'm not saying the earth is not flat. I'm just saying that's not all these little, like, I've dug really deep. I've looked at all the reasonings and everything. There could be the same. There could be also like I see the flaw in this and that. Like, because I'm really looking. I'm not just going with my emotions. I'm looking to observe and look at like from all angles, and everything to me is falling flat. Pun intended.
Flat on its face. I love it. Nice job, Natasha. Did you write these out ahead of time? Because you're just on point with this shit.
Well, the whole it falls flat thing. I was talking to somebody about this exact same subject, exactly what we're talking about right now. And I said that it falls flat. And he was like, did you intend that pun? I was like, no, I didn't. So now I'm saying I am intending it because, it's happened in the past.
It's organic.
It's organic.
I think the only place you go to that with is, ancient teachings, which again, you can look at that and go, okay, yeah, they didn't have satellites. So of course they couldn't determine that the earth was round if that's what's going on here. I'm with you though also. I have no stake in the game. I have no planted flag anywhere. If it's bald, cool. If it's flat, even cooler because there's other things, right? But I think that the big thing is when you do get to the fact that we have been lied for enough of us, it is, well, then why? Like the question is if you are making $56 million a day to do shitty CGI stuff, what is that money going towards? Now, there might really be a space and they're actually going there. They're just not filming it or what space is they're not telling you the truth about, but it's still real, or the Earth is fucking flat, and this is a control mechanism for some of the reasons that flat earthers think. But I think yes, flat earthers, when you put the the ERS on the end of it, and they're this whole classification of folks that we can generalize because they identify as that, and they're very loud about it. Which again, that's fine, guys. If that's what you believe, awesome, and I'm always down to have the discussion. I do though think it's a great question to ask. Okay, well, if we are being lied to by our space agency, why? What are they hiding? Are they using the money for a secret space program? Cool, yeah, just tell us that. Or is it a huge fakery and fuckery because the space doesn't exist, or it doesn't exist in the way that they present it for whatever reason? I think it's
curious.
Good questionings, right?
I'm so curious. Like, what's really going on? And where does astrology? Because astrology definitely falls into there somewhere. Where does it fall?
Well,
that's like my number one. I'm like, yeah. Well, then what's going on with astrology? So many theories.
I'm with you. And the way it's presented is that those are just luminaries. They're not necessarily stars. Because have you ever zoomed in with a telescope on a star?
No, I don't think with a really good one. I don't think so. But then again, I might have, and I just don't remember.
The way they look is insane. They look like a luminary body is underwater. Like it's not this perfect star pattern that like the Hubble shows you or whatever. It's really interesting, and you can do this like from your backyard. It's just odd. And so the explanation for that again is that it's like a clock up there. So it's basically like a closed system. It's a clock, and so these things, that's why they've stayed the same and don't, and repeat like this in these cycles, because it's there for you to do that with. They're not necessarily heavenly bodies floating around out there, is the idea. Or maybe there's layers of the solar system, right? Like a closed system with another closed system with another closed system. And the domes or the barriers, like the Van Allen radiation belts that NASA talks about that we can't go through, that are in between us and the moon, that is something that may be just like an energetic barrier. And once you vibrate high enough, you go to the next level, and that's where Mars and Jupiter and shit are. I don't know. I'm like you though. I love the ideas.
Who knows? They could be stargates. This Mars, Venus, whatever.
Stargates, yes.
It's just so much.
So much. So what would be your fun? Goodness. Like if you could be like, okay, the Earth is a ball like that, or it's flat. What would you decide the Earth should be?
I wanted. I don't know why, but maybe just my attachment. It could be just attachment. I want it to the way we assume it to be, just because I guess it feels familiar or comfortable. I don't know. Another thing that I feel is, like I wonder, I'm like, so this whole ETs thing. So they're just like interdimensionals, right? They're, it doesn't need to be that they're out there, right? That could be just reality upon reality upon reality, right? Many, many dimensions. And, it's just so vast. Like, what's going on? I have no idea what's going on.
Well, of course not. But what's fun is that we're not locked into an ideology, and that we can actually mentally really kind of wrap our minds around the exploration of these ideas and really go for it with them. And I think that's a beautiful place to be. You don't have to be married to any of these ideas. You don't have to be married to any of it. But it's really interesting just going to walk around and view your world through a different filter all the time. You're like, okay, I'm going to look at it like this today. I'm going to look at aliens as if they are interdimensionals, and one could just pop out from behind a tree because it's no big deal to them, right? It's just the way that they work. Like, that's cool. They don't have to travel these long distances because that's not what they're about. And it's fascinating. So I'm a big fan of it. So let's talk about the organic simulation. I want to get into this with you because the simulation is one of my favorites. And it also, like we've already touched on here, like you already touched on, that could determine the shape of this place because it could render as whatever the hell you think it is, right?
Right. Yeah. So, okay. Where do I start? Let's say there's this one mind, right? That, again, nobody actually knows anything, like legit, like I know. But how I feel is that there's this one mind that, let's say was bored or whatever, wanted to get to know itself, or lonely, right? Wanted to explore, expand its reality.
Nice. My favorite part is the wink after that. Audio only audience, go check out the video linked in the show notes. She's delightful anyway. It's a nice add-on, so thank you.
I just think it's funny. This entity, this mind, whatever. And so everything's energy, right? So kind of created, let's say the Big Bang, or even if there was no Big Bang, let's say created a focal point of energy that turns into matter, right? Like, by its structure and whatnot. And so anyway, so this creation expands, and all these particles fly and gather and become rocks, right? And become whatever, bodies, right? And then solar systems develop due to kind of, I guess, the nature, the makeup of this mind, but kind of reflecting into physicality, right? Like an atom, right? Solar systems, atoms. So then eventually on these rocks that we can call planets, enough of the correct environment is produced over a period of time where, organisms starting with the, a single cell, developing, becoming more and more sentient and more capable of thought and reason. And here we are as humans, right? Now being able to reason and have free will and have all these experiences and fall in love with each other, and just like really vast information and way of getting to know yourself. So this one mind is now kind of peering in through all these focal points, which are different individuals, not just human, of all different species, So yeah, it's kind of collecting information, getting to know itself, and receiving fulfillment. This is very fulfilling, the collecting information in general is fulfilling, but like to be able to kind of love itself through through all these different focal points, like, families loving each other, lovers loving each other, it's quite an experience. So is it a simulation in that from that perspective, or is it organic because like it's got formed through, the organic matter, yet our mind is technically one mind, like I said, peering through all these. So it's kind of like a simulation from this one mind, being separated. But it's technically a simulation still. It's organic, yet a simulation. So it doesn't need to be this weird, sorry to cut you off. It doesn't need to be this whole weird, like, this is not real, therefore I could do whatever the fuck I want. No, it's still, morality still kind of comes into play. Cause and effect, which some would call karma, still comes into play. You still need to be humane.
Do you think though that cosmic karma and just cause and effect are just results of things that happen here? Like if you touch something hot, you burn yourself. It doesn't necessarily mean that you fucked up or that you're going to burn forever or eternity for making the mistake. It's kind of a learning lesson. It's kind of just an artifact of this place.
It's a cause and effect. This happens, therefore this happens. It's no shame on you.
Yeah, no judgment.
No.
Yeah. What's so interesting about this, and I got to just compliment you on it. You just blew my mind with the way that you put this, because it marries the theories of science as far as evolution goes, but you've put it into a point to where it's like, yes, it's set up, it's an organic matrix. So there is an evolutionary process which is mechanistic in nature. And it does we do seem to have a bunch of cycles here, a bunch of things that are repeatable, that look mechanistic in nature, that look like something a video game or some sort of system would create, right? To maintain and even enhance alterations to the life forms that are here. Yeah.
Through the cycles.
But what I like about the way that you put it with it tying into a more transhuman or a digital type of an environment is that you're just jacked into this thing, like the Matrix or like the Avatar, perhaps, that movie where they transfer the consciousness into an organic being, into this system that it's created for itself to experience what that system is. That's cool as shit. I've never thought of it that way. And usually, and I've compared the architect of the Matrix and a god as the same thing, because if you scale it up high enough, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference, right? It would look like magic, right? The Arthur C. Clarke quote. But it doesn't necessarily mean that they're separate. And I think that this is where science and spirituality, this is where the next step for science goes, is really marrying more of these ideas using plant medicine, psychedelics, things like that thin the veil. But then, you can approach these kind of ideas in that way. And that's fascinating, Natasha. I love the way you put that. That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, because yes, there are consequences here. There are cause and effect. And I think, when we explain the matrix or simulation or whatever, we throw out a lot of it's not reals. But I do my best to make sure and also note the caveat that it's very real to you because it's a very real system that we're in. Yes, after this is over, it's probably not so real looking back, but it's very real now. So you should take it seriously. But you should enjoy it.
Your soul is evolving through these experiences. So if you act like a shit person, who
That's
are
what you experience. Yeah,
and you're taking away from your own growth. You're hurting yourself.
Yeah,
as well as others.
And even you could say though that that's a choice, that you're here to contractually do that. To not only
Absolutely.
experience that, but to be that for someone else to experience. It's
Absolutely.
so interesting how deep the tapestry of all this goes. It's so cool. And I'm grateful to be able to talk to high vibe people that get it on that level like you, because these kind of conversations are what's necessary, right?
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to more of this becoming more and more like a normal thing.
Oh, I know. And I think it is. I think that there's so many people out here. And that's like what Amy was saying, it's the waking up part of it, the ability to wrap your mind around these types of concepts is happening at an accelerated rate. Like you go from learning how to spell the word meditation all the way up to quantum hypnosis healing technique in like one video. You can just click on the next one and you're cognitively pretty much there. Like you could wrap your mind around these concepts a lot easier, right? Does it feel like that to you?
Yeah, for sure.
It's fascinating. I'm sure you've gotten inundated with folks that feel the same, right? That are just waking up or coming into this or going like, my face is on fire and I don't understand. Can you help me out?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Natasha, you are a delight. Was there anything else that you wanted to touch on before we wrap for this one?
Is there anything else? I think we covered a bunch of stuff. Did we cover everything I wanted to cover?
That you wanted to cover, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But that I wanted to cover, absolutely not, because I could talk to you about everything forever. And you just always
do you have any questions?
I wanted to know a little bit about New Earth and what that looks like for you.
Oh, yes, good one. I think that's a good way to end. So for me, so it starts with the individual. I keep hearing people saying, when is a new Earth going to get here? When is it going to get here? When is it going to get here? And I'm like, guys, it's not there. Nothing's going to come here and rescue you. It starts with you. And the way for individuals to bring New Earth forth is to get into their heart space and live their life through this space. And, when you first start, you're not going to always be able to be here. And that's okay. Even if it's 1 minute a day to start, and you're expanding it every day more and more and more, eventually being able to live from that space. And again, you're not always going to be able to be there, and that's okay. But the more you live through the space, the more action that you do from this space, the more you're influencing other people through this space. So it's like let's say a virus, right? Kind of spreads through the rest of the masses because you're influencing with your vibe, with your action, with your ways. And those people are doing the same. They begin to live through the space. Their actions are influencing other people. Their vibe is influencing other people. And another thing to add to that, so you create, you're expanding, and that's New Earth. You're building it just by living through here. And another thing to add to that is kind of you're living through here, but you're also working every day on grounding yourself. So you're grounding these energies into this earth, therefore also influencing the earth to continue to vibe higher and higher and higher.
Natasha Koshinka, I cannot thank you enough. This is awesome. You are an absolute delight. All the ways to find you, of course, will be linked down in the show notes. Guys, go check out her show, her podcast, Greetings, Earth Family, as well as her YouTube, Quantum Adorableness. All of it's linked down in the show notes, guys. Please go check my new friend Natasha out. And thank you so much. You are an absolute delight. Your soul tribe, you will be back for sure. So I'm truly grateful for your time, and you're just wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate being here and talking to you and expanding all these topics to the rest of the world through your medium.
Well, it's a beautiful thing. And like I said, come back any damn time. You're always welcome. This is great.
Invite and I will be there.
Sending all of the love and light and beauty in the world to Natasha for coming out and hanging out with us. She's an absolute delight. Soul Tribe for sure, guys. So make sure that you check the show notes for all of the ways to find her. Her podcast, Greetings Earth Family, and her YouTube, Quantum Musings, will be linked down in the show notes. Make sure you check that out. Also, the music that you're listening to right now is by a good friend of mine, Vinny the Saint. Icarus is what he is going by these days, I believe. And he makes some awesome music, got some new stuff coming out. So check the show notes for ways to find him. Additionally, down there, if you would like to expand your experience with us here on the show, you can do so at expandingrealitypodcast.com. Links to Rockfin, merchandise, all the socials, all of that stuff is down there. It's kind of a central hub for everything, so make sure you check that out if you fancy. So go out into this beautiful place this week, guys, and y'all just pick up a piece of litter, of course, buy somebody in line around you or adjacent to you a coffee, a meal, a flag of stamps, whatever they come in, and just change those ripple effects out throughout the collective. And this is the way that you make the change, right? You show up, and that's an opportunity for you to be a greater, grander version of yourself. So take yourself up on that. While you're doing all that, open doors for folks, smiling, be nice to every animal, entity, lizard person, everybody that you come across. Get out of the left-hand lane, of course. And above all and anything else, guys, go out into this beautiful place, whatever the hell it is, and y'all just be good to one another. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next time.